Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? M.V.K here, coming to you again, as always. Hope everybody's well on their end, as usual. Back again with my recap slash review for this week's episode of ThunderCats. Rawr. Yeah. This is episode 16, entitled Trials of Lionel Part 2. This is the second part to the episode. This actually was written by Will Ferrell, the actor who voices Lionel. That was really interesting. Okay, so the gist is Lionel has been so-called killed, and he's in the spirit world trying to gain back his life. This series, pretty much paid homage to the classic episodes, The Trials of Lionel. So while the other Thundercats are arrived at Mum-Ra's pyramid, in the spirit world, guys, Lionel ends up in a test of strength against Panthro, and he must knock Panthro out of the circle, the Thunderian, embryo, and before the sand runs out. And Lionel's having real difficulty. He's coming at him hard. He's coming at him trying to use brute strength and things like that. And he's like, this is impossible. You're 10 times my size. And Panto's just like, well, then you better just sit there and wait, King. And while all his tries are just being knocked out, Lionel remembers that he is the king, and Panthro is supposed to take orders from him. So he orders Panthro, I order you out of the ring, which was actually kind of cool. I was like, okay, that's cool. So that was really fun. And basically, Panthro states to Lionel that his greatest strength is being a leader, which is actually cool. So back in the living, guys, Tigra and Panthro take out the lizards guarding outside of Mum-Ra's pyramid, and they begin their infiltration into the pyramid until the alarms go off, alerting the other lizard soldiers. So instead of look like it was going to be a battle, Wily Kit actually charms the lizard soldiers with her ocarina flute, enough so the cats can get by them. And even before that, as you guys remember, note throughout this episode, Wily Kit was leaving tracks for Lionel to follow because she didn't believe Lionel was dead. So that was I thought that was really touching, that she really believed that. So when the lizards finally come out of consciousness, they just consider the alarm just a false alarm. They're like, oh, false alarm. So in the spirit world, Lionel ends up going up against Tigra in the same arena where he previously lost to Tigra in order to get the final key and regain his life. Do you remember that in the first episode where they had like that test of like wits where they climbed that tree and they had to ring that bell? Unfortunately, Lionel he finally realized that the test is a test of emotion to see if Lionel can control his emotion, his temper, to defeat Tigra, because it's shown that Lionel has like a temper in this, and that was kind of what the test was about. So meanwhile, back in the other side, Tigra and the other Thundercats are moving through the ventilation shafts to see Mum-Ra planning to extract the Eye of Thundera from the Sword of Omens with like a spell or so that he was chanting. And however, Tigra ends up leading an ambush where they fight the lizards in order to save get the Sword of Omens. However, Mum-Ra is easily able to defeat them, which was, I was like, okay, that's interesting. So back in the spirit world, Lionel loses his match against Tigra, and he's back to Jaga, and Jaga tells Lionel that he failed and that Mum-Ra has obtained the Sword of Omens. He's captured the other Thundercats. In order to save the other Thundercats, Lionel basically, he offers his soul to Jaga as a sacrifice. Jaga tells him that the Soul Stone will return him to his body, right? However, until the sunrise, where he has to, his soul will be sent to limbo for eternity. So he had to make this big sacrifice. Was Lionel ready to take it? Oh yeah, he was. So when Jaga asks him, do you consider those consequences or of returning to your earthly body, he goes along with Lionel's offer. And Lionel basically wakes up at the bottom of the river. He removes the stone. He swims up and hitches a ride on like this bird-like creatures to save the other ThunderCats. And he basically follows the drawings that Wily Kit had left him. And inside, back in the pyramid, inside Mum-Ra's cells, Tiger is unknown. He doesn't know what to do now. He's not going on like instinct and stuff like how Lionel would lead them. And Wily Kit is telling them, Lionel's come, he'll come. And they're just like, Kit, Lionel, and he's like, he's coming. Her confidence in him was really there. And Lionel manages to infiltrate Mum-Ra's pyramid, where he finds Slive, Kanar, and Atticus. And in this one, guys, Atticus, Monkeyin kind of pays a little bit homage to Monkeyin from the 80s, where you actually hear him start going, ooh, 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 which is really kind of funny. We also see that Kanar wanted to eat one of the ThunderCats, which is really, I'm like, okay, he's crazy. Lionel basically manages to trick the trio into a cell and proceeds to free the other ThunderCats. And Lionel states that they don't have enough, because when they see him, they're like, Lionel, how are you? And he's like, we don't have enough time. We have to reclaim the Sword of Omens. And pretty much everybody's copacetic with that. Like, okay, we'll follow you, Lionel, no problem. Mum-Ra is still performing his spell in order to get the Eye of Thundera out of the sword until Panthro blows the door, and there's pretty much a battle to stop. Once again, we see Mum-Ra come to his super form, which is always a blast to see. And Lionel attacks using... Mum-Ra attacks him, but Lionel's able to block it using the Spirit Stone. And Lionel basically successfully reclaims the Sword of Omens. And he uses his light attack to weaken Mum-Ra. And then the ThunderCats escape from Mum-Ra's pyramid. Basically, Lionel wanted to continue to go after him, but Panther was like, let him go, Lionel. Let's get out of here. And outside the pyramid, the sun rises, and Lionel states that he got to go now. And that's where we see the spirit of Jaga come and states that Lionel has paid the ultimate price. And Jaga's spirit states that the trials were to test Lionel's skills and heart, never to test, the other consequences of him capable of being the leader. Therefore, Lionel is given a second chance at life and leads the ThunderCats to victory. And then that's by the end of the episode, Lionel is basically starts to brief the other ThunderCats on the trials which Jaga mentioned to him. And guys, I wrapped that up. That was the gist of the episode. Good summarization of the episode, which was really good. I really enjoyed this episode. The next episode is entitled Native Son, which will appear next week, and basically it has something to do with the Tiger Clan. So there's another friend of a new subscriber of mine that I've been getting together with, and we've been talking about who's to come, and we believe Bengali is going to be in that episode. And then after that, there's the April 21st is an episode is called Survival of the Fittest, where Wily Kit and Wily Cat are being hunted by somebody. We're saying maybe Safari Joe or somebody else. And then the episode called The Pit. And for all those fans out there that have been wondering, yes, you're getting your wishes. April 28th, we see the debut of the 2012 version of Pumaira in this episode. So, yeah, we're getting our wishes to see Pumaira. But Trials of Lionel, the whole 2-part episode is really good. I really enjoyed it. You guys tell me what you thought about this episode. Did you like it, or did you feel that it was rushed, or do you feel like in the short amount of time that they did it in paying homage to the original series, did they do an okay job? Personally, with me, I think they did an okay job. But other than that, guys, this is Mount Vernon Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned. On to the next.